So, folks, let's talk a little bit about fraternities and how, they're an excellent way to network going forward in the future, but also fraternity culture in America is deeply fucked up. And they have now officially released some police body camera footage of a police responding to a fire alarm at a fraternity at the University of Iowa about 2 years ago. And, well, this is what they found when they went into the basement.
Does anyone want to be forthcoming on what's going on? Anyone? Because you got to see it from my perspective. What the did I just walk into?
Yeah, I'm just going to play that component there. They had about 50... Is this real? Yes. They had 59 frat guys in that basement. When police initially arrived, many of them were blindfolded and also covered in yellow unidentified liquid, brown unidentified liquid, and white unidentified liquid. And all of them refused to talk to the police. All of them refused to talk to the police. And it's worth noting that in Iowa, hazing is actually illegal, as well as, the university's policy is that it's illegal as well. And essentially, the fallout from this has been no one really got in trouble for it. One guy got arrested and charged with, obstructing an investigation, but those charges were eventually dropped. I just got nothing. It's weird as hell, is what it is.
Shit. I've already given multiple commands to clear the room and get out of here, but no one's moving. Apparently they're taking this pretty serious.
Yeah, I guess.
You in charge?
You said...
Still haven't found out who's in charge?
Might want to ask our house dad.
Where's he at?
Summit.
Working at Summit.
Summit, that's cool.
So, you have
obviously,
someone else coming here?
Yeah, lieutenant's coming.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Definitely figure out why you wouldn't let me pass you initially.
Questionable.
Yeah.
I get it.
I would probably be calling your house dad or whoever to get him here, since ultimately
Wish I could.
he's probably in charge, right? Unless someone else is in charge.
A lot of
I don't have his number, so
Yeah.
Which probably is that.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how the fire alarm guy set off, or is it just from? It's manual. Goes off.
So it's this one, the hallway here. How I got set off, I'm not sure.
I don't think it was down here. It's upstairs.
I can tell you.
No, there was 15, 20 people down in your basement. It's not that dumb. It's fine.
And I'm getting a little frustrated that no one's telling me who's in charge of what's going on right
I can
here.
help you out, but I'm not in charge.
Literally,
I'd like to help you, but I'm not in charge.
yeah. I mean, we asked you to call your house dad, and you said
I don't have
he's
order.
working.
Like
How do you not?
I mean, like, it's a whole lot of talking with these guys. Well, I want you all to keep in mind, in the other room, there were just 50 dudes standing around. It's real fucking weird.
Guys,
It's just water.
just water? What's on that dude's tie?
I'm not sure if some are.
You? Come here.
It's Serena. Does it look like it's...
Nope, you're gonna stand right over there.
Why?
Because I'm telling you to.
It's my house.
It's your house. You're responsible for everything that
I'm
happened
in this
today.
fraternity, so...
So, okay. Tuck in right there. Get up against the wall.
Come over here. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna stand with your buddy over here. Milliken, take these two, ask them questions about what's going on their arms.
Again, no lights are on. They're all standing in pitch black. As cops are just trying to figure out what the hell this even is. Frog voice from Screaming at the Pledges. Yeah, I mean, the guy that just walked past looks like he has a bruise, or what's going to bruise, on his chest. Is it poo? I mean, I would guess that they're covered in piss, shit, and cum. Okay? Like, if I had to just throw out some guesses, that's what I would guess. And, like, I just want to point out, looks really culty. Well, that's part of it, right? Like, what I wanted to talk about is the fact that a lot of these guys get bonded by the hazing ritual, right? Like, they all view it as an integral part of entering into this culture, right? Why don't they just join the military? Because at least, you know, this way they won't get killed, and then they have like a great networking circle for life. But like, what's happening here is more than that, and I think that also this is similar to what happens at like elite level institutions, you know? Like, Princeton has frats, you know, all of the Ivy Leagues have frats. And when we talk about universities and student culture and stuff like that, like, frats kind of exist outside of that. And part of why they do this is so that everyone is kind of bonded by some kind of secret, you know? I was in a cult, not proud, and this is classic initiation testing. Exactly. Exactly. Right? You give them all a secret that they then all feel compelled to share. They feel special being in on the secret. They are able then to, like, you know, call upon each other, and they know that they have loyalty amongst one another. And I just wanted to point out that what you see happening here in a frat house at the University of Iowa, a frat, by the way, that's been suspended for 4 years, but like, that's not, that really does not seem like a punishment exactly, you know? But what it gets you to is stuff like Epstein, right? Epstein's circle. And what ends up happening is that when you enter into one of these fraternities and they haze you, you undergo this ritual and you learn it, and you learn how to replicate it. You know? You participate in it, and then you are expected to do it again to initiate others, right? And when those kids, adults, young adults, grow up to be older adults out in the world, they then replicate that amongst their adult peers. And it's exactly why and how you get circles of silence, like around what Epstein was doing. You know, you're all just part of the same boys club. You're all just part of the same, you know, ritual club. And it has nothing to do with, like, Satan. It has nothing to do with, like, any actual mystical bond. It is entirely a psychological bond. And so, yeah, you're all in this with me now. Exactly. That's how Epstein seems like he operated, you know? He would bring people in who thought his connections would be useful, and then he would initiate them into his circle. And, like, whether you were cool with the whole child sex trafficking thing he had going on or not, you were still in that circle. Like, it's part of the reason why I'm not terribly surprised folks like, what's his name? Noam Chomsky has precious little to say about Epstein, despite having correspondence with him, despite reaching out to counsel him through his hard time of being outed as a known child sex trafficker. You know? Like, these people all went to these elite institutions. They were all initiated into similar social groups. they learned the same type of rule that you can use to trap other men into essentially an arrangement with you. Do you think one of the initiate's girlfriends called the cops? No, the cops were brought there by like a fire alarm. I'm guessing one of the initiates pulled the fire alarm because some fucked up shit was happening. It's just really weird, and like it continues to be weird. There's like 16 minutes of this.
What?
Okay, sweet.
Just weird as hell.
Okay, you two. The reason I pulled you guys aside. We're here for public safety at this point. What's on your arms?
Oh.
Where are you guys going now? $127. Can I get you back down here? What's on your neck?
I don't know. I can't see. That looks like blood, is it? Shine your light. Is it blood?
That's what I'm asking.
Let's taste it.
No.
Okay.
Do you see why we're here? Why we're asking questions?
I don't know.
It's really fucking weird. But this is the kind of thing where all these guys got together. And whether or not they were completely on board with this, they were all staying silent about it. Because they all believe if they speak up about it, everyone's getting in trouble. Why does dude sound like a horse kicked him in the throat? Probably because he was just spending the last several hours screaming at these guys. Something went... No, it's not something went down that throat. That guy was screaming. He's hoarse from screaming at them. Yeah, he's the drill instructor of the haze. And, like, this is absurdly common, not just in frats, but in a lot of different types of masculine gatherings, because it's a shortcut to bonding. Rather than, like, actually bonding on shared interest, trauma is used to bond people. And collective implication is used to bond people. You know? Anything but go to therapy? Yeah, anything but go to therapy and honestly communicate your emotions. Yeah. Probably. No, I've already told you guys what happened. Someone pulled the fire alarm and the police responded. Hazing rituals are also a psychological thing, breaking down the person's psyche. Yeah. You break them down, and then you rebuild them bonded together. You know? It is absolutely crazy. You guys can watch the whole thing on your own time if you'd like. Here's the link to it. But, like, I feel like I gave you all of the important bits here. It's just, there is, like, a certain psychopathy to being like, is that blood? Do you want to taste it to find out? Like, that's fucking crazy shit to say to a cop. But, like, Epstein just did it with some of the richest and most powerful people on the planet. But stuff like this happens outside of the Epstein class. You know, this type of dynamic is not limited just to the rich and the famous. You know, these guys go out and become middle management. They go out and become, small entrepreneurs, etc. They're out there, and they've learned this lesson about abuse, about trauma bonding, etc. And, like, it's worth noting that this is essentially one of the reasons why we have to be outspoken against patriarchy. We have to be outspoken against the systemic way that these types of essentially male trauma rituals are enacted. It damages not just the men who participate, but everyone else in society as a result. Because these men then go out in the world, they try and date, they try and have families, and, like, this fucks up their brains. Does the school plan to investigate? The school suspended the frat for 4 years from operation, but, like, that, frankly, this should be grounds for permanent dismissal of the frat. There's no upside here. But, Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely, I'm just kind of like, this is deeply weird. We need to talk more about this stuff, because this inevitably has terrible effects on all of us, you know? It's not just deeply weird, it is emblematic of a deep rot in our society. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And also, get organized, folks. Join your local Dems, join your local DSA. Let's get organized so we can make our communities better places. And maybe if we make our communities better enough, we won't have groups of people traumatizing one another like this. There you have it, folks.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.